Mr. President, one last question. There has been some speculation in some of the press that Ninoy Aquino would like to come back to the Philippines. Is there any truth in that? And if so, would you let him come back?
I wouldn't know. The last time I heard was that he was not coming back until after his stint with Harvard. He indeed, of course, indicated a desire to come here on the excuse that it was necessary to stop any violence, and it was necessary for him to convince his friends here to allow a phasing out of martial law instead of a sudden lifting, and that they should, and to convince them to cooperate with me. My answer to that was, perhaps it would be better if he left everybody alone. And if he wants to come back on his own, and not under the pretext that he's going to help me, because I don't think his presence will be of much help, in the sense that his presence usually generates controversy. He is such a type of a man that even among the ranks of the opposition, he will invite quarrels. The other opposition leaders have so indicated to me. And so he, I think, has changed his mind. He'll probably come back after Harvard, and we have enough time to decide then what to do with him. What does he want to do? I'm open-minded. He is not, after all, that important in the sense that the opposition will have to decide, first of all, is he their leader or not? Now, right now, I'm listening to voices other than that of Aquino. I hear Jerry Rojas. I hear Tanyada. I hear Jokno has not signed the Unido paper. They want to keep their distance from the others, other opposition leaders. I hear that the liberals want to be separated from the nationalistas, and the independent groups want to be separated from the two other parties. Now, if this continues by 1984, they'll wreck their chances for a comeback. To at least control a substantial membership in the 200-man National Assembly. I say 200 men because that's what they tell me is the target of the National Assembly for the new parliament. And that would be a pity, because we would like to have a parliament where there is full, free debate. Look, I grew up in an atmosphere of free debate. I love debate. I'd like to meet anybody who disagrees with me. I've said so repeatedly in the past, and I say so again. We want a parliament and a National Assembly where all sectors of the community will have a chance to be heard through their representatives, and where, as your Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes has said, the truth may come out of the free trade of ideas. I believe that I am not alone. I believe that my generation is used to this kind of give and take. This unfortunate conclusion of some of the Western observers to the effect that we set up this dictatorship because we are afraid of free speech and free debate just isn't correct.
You know, I'm very happy to hear you say this morning that you disagreed with one of the columnists in the newspapers. I think that's a very healthy sign, too.
Oh, they have been coming to all kinds of conclusions. And, of course, my idea of a free press is everybody should express his views and let the truth come out. This isn't going to stop me from speaking out loud and clear when I hear somebody saying an obvious lie, like the Unido paper saying that on his speech proclaiming martial law, he promised that he would terminate martial law at the end of his term in 73. I did no such thing. I never said anything like that. I was very, very cautious because I did not know whether I would end up fighting in the hills or just giving up to the superior forces of the enemy. We counted the guns that they were holding, and we realized that they had more guns than the armed forces of the Philippines. So we had to pick them one by one, Napoleon style, shades of Austerlitz and all that rock.
That was the last question, but this brings up one more short one. The military. For a martial law administration, having seen a few others, the military was not quite in as much evidence here as it has been in other countries that I've been. But do you think that there'll be any unhappiness on the part of the military with martial law being lifted? Any temptation, since they have had a reasonable amount of power?
No, I don't believe so, because the military has voluntarily subordinated itself to the civil government, even under martial law. You see, our martial law is the American type, not the European type. The European type of martial law is where the military takes over the entire government. It's a state of siege of war. Whereas the American type, as explained by all your experts, Bordick and Willoughby and the rest of them, is where the civil government calls on the military and says, look, these are our decisions. Will you enforce them? And the military comes in and enforces the decision of the civil government. And therefore, the military is subject to the orders of a civilian authority. And this is fundamental in all constitutions that have followed the Constitution, which, of course, ours is. And so the military has been a balancing wheel, as it were. Never in the history of the military has it ever imagined or thought that it could take over the government, even forcibly, at any given time. And therefore, it has acquired a culture of its own, shall we say, a tradition that it recognizes the civil authority and it enforces the decisions of the civil authority. So they will not be unhappy, continuing as it is, subordinate to the civil authority.